E is the most used letter in the English language, as well as in French, German, and Spanish. It appears in 11% of all words, which is kind of a lot if you think about it. It's everywhere. And that got me wondering, is it possible to beat Pokemon without using the letter E? Well, since this video exists, the answer is obviously yes. But how exactly? I saw another video that did something similar, where he beat Pokemon without using any vowels by using a Jinx. But he had to hack in the Jinx since it's not a starter in any game. But I wanted to do it totally legit. No cheating in items, editing EVs, none of the normal conveniences of Nuzlocke. So, how is it done? Well, first, we need to see what starters are even available. Taking a quick glance at the 29 starters in Pokemon, 16 don't have an E in their name, which leaves us with these, totally wiping out Gen 6 as an option. But if we ban all moves that have the letter E in them too, that only leaves us with 7 starters total, since the others only have an attacking move that contains the letter E at level 5. Of the remaining 7, only Piplup and Sprigatito have evolutions that don't have an E in their name. And between these two, Pokemon Platinum doesn't have an E in it, while Scarlet and Violet do. So our starter will be Piplup in Pokemon Platinum. But not only Pokemon and moves with the letter E will be banned, but items will be too. Which means no rare candies, no super potions, and most importantly, no standard Pokeballs. So we will be stuck with only Piplup for a long while until we eventually gain access to a ball that doesn't have the letter E in it. I'm also not going to be using Speed Up at all because Speed has not 1, but 2 E's in it. And considering how abysmally slow Gen 4 is, this is going to take a while. We get through the tutorial of the game and then step foot outside Sand Gym Down for the first time, where we encounter our first trainer, Lass Natalie. And Natalie here totally mops the floor with us with her level 5 Bidoof, causing our first wipe. But hey, it's not a Nuzlocke, so what do I care? We quickly make it to Jubilife, where we pick up one of the only health items we'll be able to use in the entire game, the Quick Claw. Most of the other useful items have an E in them, including all the plates, all the berries, and most critically for me, the XP share and the Lucky Egg. Without those 2 EXP items available, it will turn a slow challenge into an absolute crawl. To continue the game, we have to beat our rival to the east of Jubilife. Going into this fight, we are instantly at a disadvantage since it's a 2v1. Not only that, but we also have the type disadvantage against the Turtwig, and we don't even outlevel it. This fight will be our first real challenge. The lead Starly spends most of its turns using Growl on us. This is a double-edged sword. It means we're able to take out the Starly without taking nearly any damage, but the -5 attack penalty means that we can deal essentially no damage to the Turtwig because we only have physical moves right now. To add salt to the wound, the Turtwig starts spamming Withdraw to increase its defense. And you know, the speed at which this fight progresses is really just emblematic of the whole challenge. The Withdraw spam lets us chip away at his health for free, but when he finally throws a tackle at us, it is clear that we have no way to win this battle. We'll need a miracle of misses from our opponent and critical hits from us to even have a chance. But our Piplup absolutely locks the fuck in and gets not 1, but 2 crits in a row, barely letting us take out the Turtwig. With our absolutely goated Piplup winning us the battle, we can move on to Orberg City, where we find a very important item, a singular Dusk Ball. This Dusk Ball will be the only usable Pokeball that we will gain access to for a very, very long time, so it is imperative that we use it correctly. With a Roark fight coming up and no access to any Water-type moves or any other Pokemon, we are essentially forced to use this ball right away unless we want to spend way too long grinding Piplup, which I don't want to do. So, we use our 1 Dusk Ball on Route 207 to catch a Machop, and luckily for us, the Machop knows Low Kick, a usable move. With Machop in hand, we're able to successfully defeat Roark. But now, what do we do with Machop? We can't evolve it into a Machoke, and it doesn't get another usable move until level 25. We used our 1 Pokeball on what is now essentially an unusable Pokemon. Well, luckily for us, somebody named Hillary lives in Orberg and would be more than happy to take the Machop off our hands and trade us an Abra named Kaza in exchange. This is very, very good for us, because the next gym is a grass-type gym, and boy oh boy, Piplup ain't gonna cut it there. Abra, however, will be able to learn and use Confusion to get super effective damage on Gardenia's Ace Roserade. On the way to the second gym, Piplup evolves for the first and the last time, giving us the Prinplup we will use for the rest of the run. By switch training, we're able to evolve our Abra into Kadabra, meaning that we now have another usable Pokemon again. By this point, we've arrived at the Admin Jupiter fight, but we're able to get past her with only a single loss. And with Jupiter defeated, we successfully arrive in Eterna City. We beeline it to the gym to take on Gardenia, and we instantly lose. See, we need Kadabra to be in top fighting condition to successfully solo her Roserade, which means that it's up to Piplup to take down her Turtwig and Cherim. But Prinplup is still stuck using weak physical moves, and with the type disadvantage, we're not even able to make it past the Turtwig before we lose. In the extremely resource-limited environment the challenge puts us in, there's only one thing we can do: grind. There's also another item we can pick up to make things easier. In Floaroma Town, there is a child who will give us the Pluck TM for absolutely free, which will give our Prinplup a super effective move. So after an hour of grinding and a new move, we take on Gardenia for the second time, and for the second time, we lose. But after yet another hour of grinding, we finally are able to beat Gardenia. Next, we run to the Galactic HQ, beat Admin Jupiter with our now vastly overleveled Prinplup, and continue on our way. And it is here that we are forced to quote-unquote lose the challenge. Because to progress in the game, we must ride our bike on Bicycle Path, meaning that we used an item that had the letter E in it. But instead of ending the video and call it quits, I will employ the classic YouTuber strategy of shifting the goalpost. So now the rule is that items with an E in it that we are forced to use are fair game. The same rule will apply to HMs like Strength, but only for overworld puzzles, no using them in battle. We arrive in Hearthome City and head straight to Fantina. Kadabra manages to take out the Duskull, but when the Miss Magius comes out, we're helpless. A Shadow Ball takes out Kadabra, and a Magical Leaf does too much damage for Prinplup to handle, despite being nearly 10 levels overleveled. But once again, all we can do to beat her is grind. Luckily, the grinding pays off and we're able to beat Fantina thanks to a bit of heal stalling by sacking off Kadabra. To progress any further, we have to take on our rival again. But thanks to our frankly absurd level advantage with Prinplup, we're able to take out his 3 extras before even going into yellow health, and Kadabra is just barely strong enough to take out the Grottle. And it is after clearing this rival fight that the whole world opens up to us. Because in the Salacion Town Pokemart, we can buy Dusk Balls for a cool 1,000 Pokebucks. It only took 7.5 hours, but we can finally catch Pokemon. With our newly acquired balls, we go catch ourselves a Duskull, a Staravia, a Zubat, and a Licky, finally giving us a full team of 6. From there we head to Veilstone City to go take on Maylene, who we easily beat thanks to our newly acquired assortment of flying type moves and confusion from Kadabra. After that, we speedrun our way to Pastoria City to take on Crasher Wake. But here we face the next big challenge of the run. Up until now, our greatest limiting factor was the lack of Pokemon on our team. Now, the biggest issue is type variety. Right now, we only have access to a couple grass or electric type Pokemon, and a grand total of 0 usable grass type moves, and only a single electric type move in the form of Spark. Not to mention that basically our entire team is severely underleveled with the sole exception of Prinplup. And well, Prinplup just ain't gonna cut it for Crasher Wake. So you know what that means. Back to the grinding mines. 4 hours later, I emerged from the grinding mines with a fully evolved Luxray in hand that knows Spark. And now, much stronger than we were before, we go back to Wake, ready for battle. Luckily though, a change in strategy is all we need to beat him. Then the whole Team Galactic terrorist attack things happens, but let's be real, No one watching this video cares about the plot of this game, and I don't care to write about it. So we do the plot stuff. We help the Psyduck, go to Celestic Town, all that. We beat up Cyrus too. With Cyrus dealt with, we head to Canalave City, beat our rival first try, and then go to Iron Island to pick up the Riolu egg. Lucario is one of the most powerful Pokemon we have access to, thanks to its expansive coverage of moves. Along the way, our Golbat finally evolves into a Crobat, which is a massive upgrade for us and one we'll have for the rest of the game. With our newly acquired Riolu, we head up to the Canalave City Gym to grind it up to a usable level and take on Byron. And thanks to our still overleveled Prinplup, we easily win by spamming Surf. Then all the plot stuff happens at the lake and we run off to investigate. We very nearly lose to Saturn, but we're just barely able to clutch it out and win with Crobat. Then we go rescue Dawn and Owen from Mars and then head off to save Barry's bum ass. But first, we need Rock Climb, which means we need to beat Candace. We beat her without too much issue and then head off to go find Barry moping around Lake Acuity after getting his ass kicked. From there, we fly to Veilstone to infiltrate the HQ and our Riolu evolves into Lucario. But it still doesn't have a very good moveset. For Lucario to really come online, we'll need to go pick up some TMs for it. But before we can do that, first we have to free the Lake Trio. But before we can do that, we have to kick the shit out of Cyrus. With him taken care of and the Lake Trio set free, we're able to beeline it up to the top of Spear Pillar, where we encounter all the Galactic higher-ups. Thanks to Barry totally carrying my bum ass, we beat the Mars Saturn tag team first try, which leaves us free to head into the Distortion World and take on Giratina. Now, Giratina is far and away the most powerful Pokemon we will have access to, bar none. With a 680 base stat total, no E in the name, and a usable moveset, Giratina is strong enough to carry us through the rest of the endgame. The issue, of course, is catching the bitch. As a legendary, Giratina has a catch rate of only 3. And we, of course, cannot use the Master Ball, so we have to do it the hard way. Our best option is the Dusk Ball, which under optimal circumstances will give us an approximately 5.5% chance of catching Giratina with each ball. Unfortunately, we only have 30 chances to catch the Giratina because with its moveset, it only has a combined PP of 30. But we are able to get a couple more chances by getting a lucky paralysis. Despite that though, we're unable to catch it, which means facing down the Elite Four will be much harder than it otherwise would have been. We head to Sunnyshore City to take on Volkner, but unfortunately for us, our Prinplup is no longer overleveled and we have a severe weakness to electric types. But then, I had a realization, an epiphany. This whole time, I have been discounting using any ground types because none of them get any access to any decent ground type moves, or any decent moveset in general. But then, I think about Gligar. I had thought about Gligar before, but I had thrown the idea away of picking one up because it could only evolve with a Razor Fang, which means we can't get a Gliscor. But upon further investigation, I realized that it's called a Razor Fang, not a Razor Fang. And with that realization, I instantly run to Route 206 and catch one. Sadly, it's only level 16, and with our aforementioned electric type weakness, we end up getting our ass handed to us. Not by Volkner, but by a random ass gym trainer with an Electabuzz. So, believe it or not folks, after 7 more hours of grinding, we finally have a Gliscor and a decent shot at the gym. We're able to beat Ace Trainer Zachary and make it to Volkner. And now, with a much stronger team, we get our ass handed to us on a silver platter. Or at least, we would've, if I didn't remember that I wasn't playing a Nuzlocke. Which means that I can just heal stall my way to victory with items like a Coward, which is a title I fully accept and wear proudly after beating FRO with a Shedinja. And now, with all 8 badges obtained, we're able to take our first steps into Victory Road. After an hour of trekking through the caves, we eventually reach the Pokemon League, where only our rival stands between us and the Elite Four. And once again, thanks to the magic of heal stalling, we're able to take the W and move on to the final hurdle of the challenge. Pause. Wait a moment. Now, I swear to God that we attempted the Elite Four for the first time on stream, but I cannot find that footage anywhere. I have scoured all the VODs from this game and all the VODs of Storm Silver just in case there was a mix-up, and I could find nothing. So instead of seeing the footage of what happened, please enjoy this lovingly made Microsoft Paint rendition instead. We take a step forward, and the guardsman steps aside for us. It's time for the Elite Four. We walk down that long hallway, ride the elevator, where we face Aaron. He leads with the Young Mega, and we lead with... Ooh, I don't remember. It was probably Crobat? I don't have video evidence of that. But we'll say that Crobat was able to take out the Young Mega with a fly and move on. Then came Drapion. Probably. Honestly, no idea what happened after that. So we'll say that we hard swapped into Gliscor, used Dig, and call it a day. Now this part, I do remember, because it sucked. Aaron sent in his Vespiquen, and then just started spamming the hell out of defense and heal order. And we just couldn't do shit to it. We didn't have the damage output to do anything to a +6 defense, +6 special defense Vespiquen. Did you know that Vespiquen has a base 102 defense and a base 102 special defense? Because I sure as hell didn't until I wrote the script. Anyway, somehow, someway, we eventually took it out, but now we have a severe lack of PP. And then he sent in his Scizor, and we just didn't have any way to deal with it. We're underleveled, have no super effective moves, and it just totally walled us. So we lose. After all that grinding, we lose to fucking Aaron, of all people. Which means that despite how much I hate it, I have to once again go grinding. After, I shit you not, 20 whole hours, we are finally back, ready to attempt the Elite Four once again. We lead with Luxray against this Yanmega, which works great since we're able to outspeed an Oko with a Spark. A Will-O-Wisp on the Heracross neutralizes it, making it easy to take out with Crobat. Our Gliscor uses Dig on the Ace Drapion, Okoing it no problem. But then the Scizor comes out, the biggest issue on his team. Scizor is only weak to fire, and if you haven't noticed, every single damaging fire type move has an E in it, so we are stuck with neutral. Looking at our team, we have two options, Lucario and Golduck. Lucario resists every move the Scizor has, but it also resists every move we have, which means we could win with heal stalling, but without access to any ethers, it would be better to save our PP for later, which leaves us with using Surf from Golduck. Surf does enough damage, but a crit X Scizor takes it out, so we can't experiment with Golduck on this attempt. Crobat is able to come in and revenge kill, letting us move on to Bertha. Our main strategy going into Bertha was to just spam Surf with Golduck, but you know. So this run is a bit of a bust, but somehow we end up clutching a win with only Crobat and Luxray surviving. Needless to say though, we lose to Flint. At this point, someone in chat mentioned that we can get the Giga Drain TM and the Big Root and give them both the Crobat. So we make a quick pit stop for that, and then head back to the Elite Four. We avoid getting crit from the Scizor and quickly get through Aaron. This time against Bertha, we have a real lead with our Giga Drain Crobat, letting us take out the Wish Cache. From there, we're able to surf down our Pokemon until Golduck gets hit by another crit and taken out. We're able to finish off the Hippowdon, and thanks to a burn, Crobat is able to stay alive against the Rhyperior and take it out with Giga Drain, letting us move on to Flint once again. Now, this is our first semi-real attempt at Flint, so we're in new territory here, though we still don't have Golduck for Surf. We lead with Lucario to hit the Houndoom with a Drain Punch and Oko it. We use Gliscor's Dig to Oko the Flareon, Magmortar, and Infernape. Crobat is able to take out his Rapidash, finishing the fight and giving us a new PB. Against Lucian, we lead with our Luxray to use Crunch and Oko the Mr. Mime. Unfortunately, the Bronzong really hard counters us here, and we're forced to throw basically everything we have at it to take it out. But from there, Luxray is able to crunch his way through nearly everything Lucian has until it's eventually taken out by Gallade, who Crobat revenge kills. And with that, for the first time, we face off against Cynthia herself, with only a half HP Crobat. Yeah, gamers, we don't even make it past the Spiritomb. But after looking at the previous attempts, I'm fairly confident that we can make it to Cynthia without any losses if we start using healing items. And lo and behold, we're able to make our way through each of the members of the Elite Four one by one until we eventually make it back to Cynthia, ready for a real fight this time. We lead the fight with our Luxray, who's able to take Spiritomb down to half HP and paralyze it with a couple of sparks. But then Cynthia hard swaps into the big bad herself, totally for free on our incoming spark. Now, we know the Chomp will go for an Earthquake, so we hard swap into Crobat for free and then pivot into Dusclops to get off a Will-O-Wisp. With the Garchomp burned, we're able to start the heal stalling while the chip damage whittles away its HP. Eventually, it succumbs to the burn, but we do lose our Lucario in the process. She brings back out her Spiritomb, but Luxray is able to finish it off handily. Then she brings out her Lucario, and we have Gliscor. Somehow, even with a burn, Dig is able to do massive damage to it and take it out in only 2 hits. She sends in her Milotic, and we swap back to Luxray, who does, frankly, absurd damage to it with a Spark, but a crit Surf takes us out. We swap into Crobat, intending to revenge kill, where Cynthia heals back up to full. And with a crazy high special defense, Giga Drain would hardly hurt it. So we swap back into Dusclops, get off a burn, and then heal stall our way to victory. But her Togekiss comes out and revenge kills Dusclops. With Luxray dead, we don't have a super good way to deal with the Togekiss. We swap into Golduck and go for the Blizzard we originally brought for Garchomp. Luckily, it hits and brings Togekiss low enough for one final Surf to take it out. And folks, the writing is on the wall. All Cynthia has left now is a Roserade. And unfortunately for her, Crobat easily outspeeds and OHKOs it with a Fly. It's official, boys. After 59 hours, 15 minutes, and 23 seconds, we have officially beaten Pokemon without using the letter E a single time. Now, I'd be very interested to see how different this challenge would be in different languages, like French or German. If anyone else has tried something like this, let me know down in the comments how it went and how different your strategies had to be. Do you get access to Pokeballs earlier, or do you get revives or even rare candies? That would make a huge difference. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a Nuzlocke to go stream where I can fully enjoy the luxury of speed up and rare candies.